Alright, I just wanted to start off this video by saying everybody, thank you for watching these videos. It really means a lot to me that you guys enjoy this. I understand, there's videos out there that put a lot more into their production value and stuff, but it means a lot to me just to be able to go online, talk about something I'm interested or passionate in, and with the limited time I have now, this kind of format where it's just recorded gameplay of me talking really kind of works out for me right now. So thanks for all the likes, thanks for all the shares, and appreciate you guys. Alright, so I just wanted to talk about kind of a shift that's been going on for me lately in my gaming life that wasn't really expected. I thought I was going to, when I got a Switch this summer, I was expecting to get a couple games and enjoy it, and didn't really think much of it. And I've always been like, gung ho, like rah rah PC, PC Master Race and everything. But as I started playing games on the Switch, and there's games out there like Breath of the Wild, Warframe, for instance, that I can think of recently, that are not like best looking thing compared to what you see on PC, and they only run at 30 FPS. And I'm actually somebody on my computer. I have a 144Hz monitor with FreeSync because I like the smoothness and all that. But I started noticing I was spending a lot of my free time creating content, whether it's streaming or YouTube, and also trying to game in the same location. So spending most of my time home in the same place. And I was noticing like I was becoming more withdrawn from people in my family and all that. And so what ended up happening is I ended up starting investing more after buying the Switch into games on the Switch, regardless of all the downsides, or what they don't have that PC does. And there's been a couple other things that recently people have been talking about in the news I kind of want to address because I think it has a lot to do with my decision for really kind of going back to consoles and main. And this is not a blanket statement. This is by no means like, oh, I'm back on console, so you should be too. It depends on where you're at in your life and what's going on. I think has a large factor to do with what's going on. And I work, during the day, and then I come home, and there's not a lot of time to like sit there and create content or something like that. And then there's a whole nother layer to this: the fact that I stream. And for the past couple years, I've had problems getting a lot of games off the PC capture to work. And what I mean is like the capture mode in OBS and stuff. Whether it's windowed borderless, full screen, whatever. Just certain games have a real hard time working in Windows. And like, I'll have like, one day where it'll be like, completely fine, Windows updates, and the next thing you know, it's crap. Or a driver updates, and it's crap. So, I know I'm not the only one out there, because I've seen forum posts on this for years, on streaming forums. And Epos Fox actually recently made a great video on this, and his frustration with streaming in Windows 10. So then there's those factors to consider, and then the other thing that's been in the news a lot is I know Metro is getting a lot of people stirred up because they were on the Steam store and then recently pulled off during the pre-order period to go exclusively to Epic Games for a year, which I technically don't have a problem with, but just for me, man, when I think about all the services I use day to day, just not even gaming apps, just services, it's really getting overwhelming. Like, it's getting incredibly overwhelming. And it's easy to be overwhelmed as a gamer by itself because there's so many more games coming out now than there were like 20, 30 years ago. It's like literally hundreds of games come out a month where we might have seen like 20, 30 at the most across all platforms, and now it's like hundreds. It's like, and granted, there's a lot of real stinkers out there, but there's just so much stuff coming out, and as an adult, I have so little time to play all this stuff, so it's kind of overwhelming on that right too. So to have extra things like game launchers and all this to deal with, and I know like Logan tossed me just a link now before starting this of another launcher called PlayLink or something that it's supposed to allocate or pull all of your stuff together. But if it's just like opening another launcher that I have to be signed into, isn't it just like trying to, put a band-aid on top of a band-aid at that point. That's kind of one of my main issues I'm having with PC right now. When I started gaming on PC back in the day, it was mostly just Steam. And there's some other services out there that I really like to support, like Good Old Games, because I like the idea of actually having ownership of your games and all that. And they're like really the only ones doing that. And I love that. But I'm just gonna read off. Just not. It's just not about launchers. It's also about online stores and stuff. And I'm sure I'm gonna miss some here. But realize every one of these you have to have a separate login. You don't want to put like the same password on everything, so you have to come up with a different password for all these and all this stuff. And you have to have a password manager, and you have to hope you don't lose that because the kind of passwords I'm doing like really cryptic stuff that even I'm having a hard time remembering. So here it is right here. I'm just gonna read some of these off. There's Steam, GOG, Origin, BattleNet, Epic, Discord, Twitch app, Windows Store, Bethesda launcher, Uplay, itch.io for like the indie stuff. Then you got like Humble Bundle, Green Man Gaming just for storefronts and all this. What is it? There's another one I can't think of out there right now. And I'm also somebody that like, I bought the Steam controller a few years ago thinking I'd be able to use it on everything. And now it's like, we're getting this weird segregation where certain controllers that I have on my PC don't work because they're not supporting the right app or launcher. I find that annoying because I actually have a preference for the Steam controller. If I want to grab a controller to play a first-person shooter or something, that is my preference. And that's getting really annoying. All right, so at the end of the day, I have some things I was thinking about here after I got the Switch, and main one being is that just the Switch is easy to set up, and it's got games that I find interesting with new different kind of gameplay mechanics, more so than I find on some of the other consoles. Gameplay's king to me, story's kind of secondary these days, because sometimes I might like not be able to get back to a game for like weeks, and then I've already forgotten what the story is, so the gameplay is the most important thing for me now. And like you're looking at right here, Splatoon 2. This is a great example of a shooter that has a different mechanic that you don't see elsewhere. You know, it's a shooter, but you're really winning by claiming territory and not by kills. And I find that interesting. Granted, it's got an aesthetic that a lot of people would be like, that's too kiddie. I don't care anymore. I just play what I enjoy, and if I don't care what anybody else thinks about it. So the fact that I just could set this console up and it just got one login, and I can just download the games I want from that store. And granted, those games can tend to be more pricey, and Nintendo games always are kind of like at a premium unless it's a holiday. I really just enjoy the convenience more, and so I'm willing to put more money into that. Just like if if Metro came out on Steam and Epic at the same time, and it was a $10 difference, $10 cheaper over Epic, I would have still gotten the Steam version because I want to. And I think the fact that you're seeing more cross-play and more adoption to that. The fact that I think you're seeing like Xbox Live SDK coming to the Switch, so you can have games sign in to Xbox Live on that platform, is just like things are changing in a really good way. And the other thing I've noticed is when I was on the PS3 years ago, you rarely saw sales that were really worth anything on there. And sales have really popped up like in the same way that they do on Steam. It's becoming quite obvious that they're not worried about like the storefronts, the brick and mortar storefronts firing back for them because they know it's going digital anyways. And so they just don't care anymore, you know, they're just doing what is best for their customers. And I've always felt that way about Nintendo to a certain extent. Nintendo's had some pretty shady practices in the past, but as of recently, I felt like they try to do, although they sometimes fall flat on their face, they usually try to do what's best for the customer. I've had multiple Nintendo stuff that's been out of warranty that's broke and actually had Nintendo fix it just because of goodwill. So I'm not going away from consoles or going away from PC and consoles completely. It's always going to be a staple. I'm always going to have the two. The other thing that just really kind of drew me in is the portability aspect of the Switch and being able to take stuff. I have to sit in doctor offices and stuff a lot now, sometimes, so having that to kind of entertain myself while I'm sitting there waiting for like, an hour or two sometimes is really nice. Um, and then the cost of the hardware is, substantially lower than getting a laptop or something like that, and easier to use compared to like having to find a desk to put a laptop or something on there. So there's tons of reasons. They just match up for me, and this is what I found. And I think the main one being is for my Twitch streams. It's way easier to hook up a console to a capture and have it work, especially now in the past couple of years with Windows 10, than it's been to um, run games off of your PC. And if anybody out there says, just get a second PC and stream off that, I will kill you because that is way outside my budget. I technically don't have money for the PC I have now. That's because Paul and Kyle had hardware and they were putting it towards this PC. I would not have been able to build this with the job that I have now. That's just impossible. So getting a second one is not a solution for me. And I don't have a huge Twitch channel that I make money off of or anything that justifies that. So, yeah, just doing it this way has been much easier for me. So everything kind of fits better this way, and I'm having a blast playing games this way. Even though I don't have like I had a hard time with controllers at first. Some of the things is like motion control really made it a lot better for me. It's kind of like weird in between, but yeah, I enjoy this experience better now, and it works out better for me. So I don't know if any of you guys feel this way. What do you feel about like all the launchers? What do you feel about your current stance on PC gaming? Did you just get into it recently? Are you still having a good time with it? Are you doing a little bit of both? I'd like to hear your comments down below. I'm actually truly interested in this because I'd like to hear other people's opinions and try to keep the fanboyism down to a minimum because that doesn't really help anybody, and I don't really respond well to that anyway. So, yeah. So you guys have a great day. If you like the video, hit a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button on your way out, and I will talk to you guys in the next video later.